So I was talking to Darren, talking to him about fantasy football, and he says he wants in. And
Did
so
you
I
wants
was,
to play fantasy football?
yeah, he's
Did you
down
tell
to
him
play.
half the season's over?
Yeah, but I was telling him about next year, and he was telling me about. We started talking about drafts. I was like, oh yeah, I'll probably get Calvin Johnson again. He's talking about Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know. And so then I realized he's talking about soccer, and he's very
That's the
confused,
good sport.
questionable. But so then I'm getting this conversation, trying to convince him or tell him the difference between American football, European, and Mexican football. He has no idea. So I'm not
Should
sure.
talk about Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey, look at that.
Oh, hello there. This is your Commissioner Nolan Parker and Corey, as always, coming to you with the Week 7 and 8 reviews, and we're going to start with Nolan's review.
Well, I mean, what'd you think out of this week? I mean, you've got to be thrilled about your team being the league scorer, high scorer.
Absolutely. Speaking of Calvin Johnson, 44 points this week, finally paying off. Just a great week for him, a great week for Kaepernick. Just consistent play from everyone else. A lot of double-digit figures. Good play from the New England defense. I managed to rebound from league low score 2 weeks ago at 51 points to putting up over 130 this week. So I'm very happy with my team's performance. Hopefully we can carry that into playoffs. Playoffs.
All right,
Yeah.
but so you rebounded. Did you win last week?
No, I did not.
It's been a while, so I'm trying to refresh my mind a little bit.
Yeah, don't win very often, but
It's good to be
that
back
tie.
here. Oh yeah, you lost like 4 in a row,
Yep.
and then finally
Like a
won.
boss.
Congratulations on your win.
Thank
It's been
you.
a long
Thank
time
you.
coming.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else you really want to touch on right now?
Let's see here.
Had a
last
good week.
Well, last week I thought the 51 would be the lowest score for like ever. Derek managed to score 40 last week. Last week.
That did happen.
Yep. Partly due to because he didn't put in a kicker, didn't put in his QB. His hands-off coaching kind of bit him here. But I did tell him at church about 3 hours prior to kickoff, hey, you haven't set your lineup. I was being very nice. I kind of wanted to see him win, and he didn't take the advice. Cotton would say, it was a bold strategy, but it just didn't pay off.
Well, that's not very good. And we'll see what he does this week.
Yep.
His team has like 4 or 5 guys on bye this week, which
Yep.
could be tricky. Him and Malvin both need to get on that. But today, Corey, I want to do something a little bit different than what we're used to doing. But we're 8 weeks in. Yours truly is 7-1, looking pretty good. But 8 weeks down in the season, I kind of want to talk about, we got 5 weeks left before playoffs start. And I want to talk about who's in, who's out, who's on the bubble, who you think looks good, who's definitely not looking good. You want to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that sound good?
Let's take a look.
Let's take a look. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Let's start at the top of the table, right? Soccer term, start at the table. But yeah, Xmas, Jackson, Flaxen, Waxen, sitting at 7-1, first in the Ray Evans division, first in the entire league. This team, they're the best team in the league. They're the hottest team in the league. They're the most complete team in the league. And the team just dominates. Am I right? Or am I right?
Well, clearly you wrote the script for this week, but yeah, I would agree. This team's a very good, very consistent play. Obviously, you don't get to 7-1 without just really good play all around. Coach Parker's been doing very well, picking up a lot of great waiver wire pickups. I see them definitely going into the playoffs, and then doing the Patriots, doing the New England Patriots, and losing probably in the Super Bowl
All right.
on the biggest stage.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I said week 9 is that's where I thought I was going to get my first loss, because I have 5 guys on bye this week, and we're hitting the meat of my schedule right now. But if we can make it through week 9, week 10, week 11, I like my odds. And we'll finish like the Patriots with 1 loss, except my loss came already. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then a second one that will come right at the end of the season. just for karma for all the pride.
All right, so you said I make the playoffs, right?
Yes.
I had myself give myself a thumbs up to get in the playoffs. But team number 2, Boston Brawlers. They're 5-3. They're first in their own Clyde Leveillette division, but they're second in the league. The team just keeps going, despite Tom Brady's difficulties throughout the season. I don't know what's going on there. It might be because Tom Brady has lost his twin sensei on his left side, with his twin being in Lawrence, Kansas now, and Tom just doesn't know how to handle that separation anxiety. But the rest of the team is picking it up. That backfield with Jamal Charles, Reggie Bush, and Darren Sproles just keeps going and leading the team to victory.
Absolutely. This team has a very good shot to get in the playoffs. As long as he can hold off all these people who are beginning to rise through the ranks of that division, such as Mile High Madmen. Yeah. And but I definitely think he's got a very good chance of holding that surge off. He's got a great team, like you were saying. Running backs are his strength, along with just skill positions in general. So I see him getting into the playoffs.
All right, just needs consistency. I myself as well give him a thumbs up. Think he's safe. Just got to keep doing what he's been doing. Moving on down the table, third place in the league right now is Don't Mess Up Aaron, sitting at 4-4. First place in the Jim Ryan division. The team, I can't understand this team. Please help me.
I don't understand really this division. 4-4 is the best record. Everyone's 500 or below. As coach of the Mile High Madmen, I don't have much room to talk, but just the division as a whole is just very weak. Hasn't been putting up very great numbers. Especially, Don't Mess Up Aaron's on a losing streak right now. I mean, I would watch for possibly Adam Weaver's team coming up through the ranks. We'll see if he can pick it up, or even Coach Ellis, who seems to be to move to Philadelphia. Hopefully that'll pay off. I really don't know how they pay for all these moves, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. This team, though, it's just a revolving door of players. Team Adam, GM Chase has picked up 26 different acquisitions already this year. He's made one other trade. Just players going in and out the door. Aaron Rodgers is finally back to his old self somewhat because Jordy Nelson is playing a reliable receiver role again. But does this team get in the playoffs?
I do not see them making the playoffs. I see this losing streak continuing. They'll probably finish. I have them finishing second in the division, so they'll end up winning a couple more. But they'll finish right above Weaver, and then DB12 is going to fall all the way.
All right, I agree with that. I don't think they make the playoffs. They're just in too big of a slide right now.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on down the line, the Super Shabs, somehow, they don't score a lot of points, but they're in fourth right now. Jim Work looks like he has gone back to his old ways. He didn't play running back last week. So it reminds me of last season when he didn't check his lineup. But this week could be a problem again for the Super Shabs because their quarterback is on a bye, but Matt Schaub is healthy again, which leads me to believe that Matt Schaub would play, which also leads me to believe that his opponent has a very good chance of just shutting down Malvin.
Yeah, if Schaub is his starting quarterback, he loses this week. We'll
put that out there.
Put that out there right now. The Texans are talking about not even starting him. We'll see how all that ends up. But Malvin is dedicated to Schaub. He's proven time and again that he is somehow attached to this just mediocre quarterback. Mediocre at best, I would say, especially this season. Well, I don't see them making the playoffs. I think they're going to skid lower. They had a great start at 5-3. They're very lucky to be where they're at, getting into a lot of little garbage bowls all over the place throughout the weeks, and just really not putting up a lot of points. You can't count on everyone just scoring 60 points against you each week. Or 51 in my case.
Okay. For that very reason, I think he makes the playoffs because he can win the ugly games, and he gets other teams in the ugly games. He has to make it past this week, though, with 4 guys on byes and 1 missing running back and a quarterback that doesn't do anything productive. But I think he's in. You say no. Just play that by ear.
Agree to disagree.
Moving on down the table, next in line is the 5th place team, Rookies Are Us, who are the darlings of the league, but they're starting to fall apart. The soft, beautiful, baby-faced Drew Hartzler is just having trouble managing his star power with his supporting cast. Because the star power is there. Peyton Manning and Adrian Peterson show up, but the supporting role players just don't want to support them anymore. And he challenged this week because Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos are on bye. So we'll see what is really there for this team right now. But what do you think?
I definitely I see this team falling some more definitely this week. I don't think they're going to win. Peyton Manning out. It's just that's really one of his main players other than Adrian Peterson. All the supporting cast, like you've been saying, just hasn't been showing up to games. A lot of star power, but I think they're just, they're not very well commanded by his kiddish good looks. Like I
just want to
hit
pinch
that
his
little
cheeks.
baby face. I mean, they're just like, he's telling them how to run routes. He's trying to coach his team up, and they're just like, oh, you're cute. Keep going. And they don't show up on game day. He needs to get command of this team. Maybe grow a beard, like the Boston Brawlers coach.
Does this team have a chance to make the playoffs?
I'm gonna say they're gonna just miss the cut, along with the Super Shabs. They'll be the two that they're not gonna make it. Just falling just under the line.
I have to disagree again. I think this team, like you said, falls right at the line, but they get in. They get in. I mean, that'll be big for these rookies. We'll see how that goes off. Next, we have America's team. And I just don't know what to say about this team that hasn't been said already. And we seem to rail on them repeatedly, week in and week out, and the owner has expressed how he doesn't like just getting railed on no matter if he wins or loses. But the funny part is, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, will win. And America's team, the fantasy team, will lose, and then vice versa the next week. And it's this week, they won. They look good, but the Detroit Lions look better than the Dallas Cowboys did. So, like I said, I just don't know what to say that won't hurt this owner's his feelings.
First off, Coach O'Quinn, I feel sorry for you rooting for these Cowboys. I turned off the game when the Cowboys got the ball at like a minute and 20 left. I assumed it was over. I come to learn later that Detroit beat the Cowboys. I mean, I don't know how this happens to the Cowboys every year, but I'm gonna say America's team's gonna miss the playoffs as well. They're not gonna have it. They're gonna miss the playoffs just like the actual Cowboys. That's what happens when you draft 8 people on the same team, and they may be a pretty decent team, and they have been putting up very good numbers, but I don't see them. Even if they do get in the playoffs, they won't go far, and I don't see them making it. They're just skid.
Okay, for once I agree with you, and I believe this Cowboys team is going to follow Des Bryant's 8-year-old antics, where he looks like he's in the middle of a Walmart crying because his mom won't get him a Tootsie Pop. But the rest of the team's going to follow suit, and they're going to be crying, begging to get in the playoffs, but it's just not going to happen. The division is too strong that he's in, and the strength of schedule is too much for him. It does help that the Dallas Cowboys have the Minnesota Vikings this week, so these guys might get some points, but it just won't be enough.
All right, so our next team is Chuck Testa, going back up to your division. They're sitting at the bottom of it with a 4-4 record. But they're on a 3-game win streak. They have been looking really good the past 3 weeks, putting up a good amount of points, and just managed to win the game every week. Well, what are your comments on it?
Like you said, this team has rebounded extremely well after starting 0-3. But that's props to the division. That's the toughest division, and they played the first 3 teams right there right away. So it's going to be hard for them to rebound when they have to play those same 3 teams at the end of the year. But besides Xmas, Jackson, Flax, and Waxon, this is the hottest team in the league. And they've been fun to watch and fun to see them show up. And they won 4 out of the last 5. They do play the tough Boston Brawlers this week, which will show just exactly what this team is made out of. So character will be revealed. The scary part is the way that this team is just put together. There's no major holes. There's no bye weeks that really stack up against them. The only big one left is Marshawn Lynch in week 12. But other than that, this team is solid. I see them performing cohesively. Cam Newton, Marshawn Lynch. Steven Jackson's back in the lineup. Julius Thomas is the question mark. Giovanni Bernard needs to be put back in because he's ready to go and will help out holes there. But I do think this team is ready to make a run, make a push for the playoffs, and I see them getting in. All right, what about 8th place in the league right now? If playoffs were to start right now, this would be the last team in. This team is DP12. Now he's falling, and he's falling fast. This team just plays for the love of the game because the coach, they're not playing for the coach right now. They're playing for themselves. Drew Brees is in his 2nd year now, some would say, of coaching while playing, because he's the reason this team even competes on a week-in, week-out basis. But Brees is such a competitor and wants to win so bad that he just needs help, though. And the team has star power, but they're not showing up. But I mean, if the GM and owner can turn it around, there's guys like Trent Richardson, Daniel Woodhead, guys that are playing, Victor Cruz, that Ruben Randall guy, Darren McFadden is on the bench. But there's guys that can contribute. They just need to be told where to go and what to do, and that comes back to the coach, and comes back to the coach waking up. At this point, I'm gonna have to say this team doesn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're not gonna make it. Sorry, Eric. And now for 9th place in our league, we are looking at Ralph Waldo Pickle Chips, coached by Adam Weaver. Question marks all over the name. I'm really not sure what that is. But hey, if the name changes keep working, I guess keep doing it. But he's on a 2-game losing streak. It looks like it's not working.
Yeah, the team is on the outside looking in to make the playoffs, and all hopes are riding on the back of Michael Vick. So let's just say there's no hope for a playoff run.
Or more the hamstring of Michael Vick, which we've all exclusively covered. Pitbull definitely
Got him.
bit him right in the hamstring.
But good thing there's an elite quarterback like Joe Flacco sitting there on the bench waiting to be put in.
Elite, yes.
And I don't know why Vic Ballard is still on this roster. The guy's been cleared ineligible for the rest of the year. So this is just another case of the owner falling asleep. It will be interesting to see how this team responds to its 2-week losing streak. And now that the allegations that this team is throwing their games on purpose and that they have players gambling on their own games.
Shaving points, yep.
We'll see what happens out of this.
A lot of allegations around this team this year.
This team is just, they've been in turmoil.
They're a bunch of convicts.
Yes, exactly. But does the team make the playoffs, these convicts, the mean green?
No, I don't see them. I don't see them making it into the playoffs. I think they'll finish right about midway, right about where they're at right now. But
My other roommate.
Coach Ellis and Houston Ronnies just moved to Philadelphia.
Philadelphia Ronnies.
So now the Philadelphia Ronnies, 10th in the league right now, but I feel like they are on the rise. What used to be the joke of the league out there in Jacksonville, I mean, they've just embraced just all their failures, mediocrity, and now they've just, they're really starting to surge. They're starting to win some games, loss and a setback every once in a while, but really I think they're trending upwards. But I do see them missing the playoffs, not by much. I see them finishing very well in this division, because it's just like we were saying, this is a very weak division. But I can see them definitely pulling to 2nd place, and if they can pull off 1st place, they're in the playoffs. But it's gonna be definitely a hard road. I have them missing it though.
It's interesting because this team is so hot right now, behind Xmas, Jackson, Flaxen, Waxen, and Chuck Testa. But this team's won 3 out of the last 4. They're now 3-5. They're in the worst division in the league. They're only 1 game out of 1st place, and the top 2 teams from each division make it in. I see this team continuing to ride on the back of Stephen Ridley, who's started to come on strong the last 3 weeks. Finally, exactly, the 2nd-round pick. I see them just managing to get into the playoffs, and maybe by that time, Ray Rice will be ready to play. Maybe. Just maybe. All right. This brings us.
Scroll down, or do you not even have anything written on?
What are you doing? I don't have anything written on you guys. This
I
brings
feel
us
so disrespected.
brings us to the bottom portion of the league, and in 11th place is the already beaten America's team. The not so smooth, trash talking Jake Wasinger came out with some blatant jabs at GM Willie O'Quinn and only backfired. They got smoked this week. Why don't you talk about Willie? Talk about Jake.
Jake, I think this team, like he was saying, is starving, and now he's moved to already beat America's team, and well, didn't quite pull it off this week. He's just after a poor start, can't say much obviously, but I see this team making the playoffs. I see them winning out. Other than against the Mile High Madmen, all these teams look easy. Showing you some love, Jake. I bet you make it. And especially with this No Shave November, his power flows from his facial hair onto his fantasy team, and they're just going to win.
Have you seen Jake try and grow facial hair?
Looks great, Jake. Don't let him discourage you.
It is horrendous, and the team will probably run away from it. Or just shave it off for him.
They'll be running so fast away from him, they'll just run in the end zone repeatedly against this team, the other team.
Yeah, but they have to have the ball when they run into the end zone for it to mean anything.
I'm really not sure you understand the rules of football.
I think I understand it better than you. Anyhow, so this team makes the playoffs for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Writing.
No brainer.
All right, Frank Gore, maybe. Matt Ryan doesn't help.
Chiefs D.
Chiefs D they're the fifth highest scoring person in the league. They have the fifth most points out of anybody, which is incredible. But defense wins championships. It might get you to the playoffs. It's not going to win you a championship. I'm going to say this team's out of the playoffs.
I never said anything about winning the playoffs.
Well, right.
He's going to get there, though.
I'm just saying the cliche is defense wins championships, but it's not going to work this year. Granted, he did have the Seahawks defense too, which is number 2, and he traded them. Dude knows how to pick defenses, but other than that, he needs help with the offense.
Yeah.
But when I become
not
coach, you
offensive
can be
mind.
my defensive coordinator.
Absolutely.
That sounds good to me.
You be a coach?
I will be a coach, and then when I take you on, it's going to be ugly. But because of your team, your team is not the highest scoring team in the league last week, granted, but you're the most inconsistent.
Yeah.
Inconsistency is just everywhere on this team. You show up, you and Jake both. You guys score the highest amount of points in one week, and then the next week you are nowhere to be found.
All right, I have a confession to make. I've been pretty much purposely not putting talent in until this week, just to make it interesting. I was like, I could go undefeated in this league with ease. Especially with my roster, which is just stacked, obviously. But I decided, what, I'm gonna lose 5 of these games, tie 1. That was on purpose, Jake. And then I'm just gonna come back. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win out. I'm gonna make the playoffs. We'll all see. Me and Jake make the playoffs. Boston Brawlers as well. This will become the best division in our fantasy league over the next couple weeks. You guys just wait.
Are you done?
Yes, we're out of Fantasy World now.
I can listen now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I was responding to an email that I made up so I can send it and not have to listen to you. But
Very
your
well.
team is garbage, and your quarterbacks are the 49ers quarterbacks. And your running backs, you don't know who to play.
Garbage. I'm 12 out of 12, dude.
On what?
On the ranks, 12 out of 12, man. That's good, right?
Yeah, that's great. You
Higher numbers.
You can pick up
Right?
whoever you want tomorrow.
Boom.
Boom. Have fun with that.
Oh, yeah.
I believe Michael Crabtree is there to be picked up. If we want to do that again.
Michael Crabtree, Jeremy Maclin, here we go.